Hi, my name is Amanda Richards, and I studied the possible benefits of using Twitter in a special collections and university archive setting. The purpose of my study was to determine if Twitter was a beneficial resource to librarians and archivists in an archives and special collection department, and to determine what, if any, problems there were with using Twitter for marketing collections. I hypothesized that using Twitter in the department would positively affect the number of reference questions received. My thinking was that when you increase an audience size, you're going to increase the product's visibility as well as increase questions that are going to be coming from those. So I just thought it would be an easy way to ask a question and gather more information. Anticipated problems that I saw were acquiring initial followers, as that may sometimes be tricky, as well as trying to consistently post relevant and interesting information to Twitter. There really is no relevant literature, nothing that specifically relates to archives and Twitter or special collections in Twitter. However, Twitter does have, or the literature does state a lot of Twitter-based information for libraries and reference services and just really general tips on getting started and how to use it in other settings. Like I said, there's no other studies that I could find on the topic, and I decided to survey a small sample group in the hopes that it would help aid fellow archivists and librarians gauge if they would like to use Twitter for their needs and how to do so. Again, it could potentially help other departments plan their use of Twitter, as well as create new uses and collaborate on new methods for making Twitter work for them. I evaluated the literature, created survey questions, created the survey through the forums option on Google Drive, posted the whole survey onto my blog, and selected a participant pool, and then the participants were emailed. The information was gathered and analyzed and written up here for you. The participant selection was done through systematic sampling. I consulted a list of the 500 top universities residing in the United States. I visited each one of these websites, and then if the website indicated that they had a university archive and special collection department, their name was then added to a list. From this list, I selected every 5th email address, and that was my survey group. It ended up being 50 universities in that group, which I emailed all of them, and 16 participants responded back. And out of those 16 responses, only 5 qualified to complete the full survey. And when asked if they noticed a change in the number of reference questions, the overall response was no, not really. They didn't notice any difference, whereas one person did say they did. So it's very inconclusive as far as, that data. So after the first couple questions were answered, only 5 participants remained. Those 5 all worked in an academic archive or special collections department, and all 5 used Twitter. There really was no direct linear proportional information at all going between the number of followers and the size of the university that they were associated with. So the smallest group of 19 followers were from a university with an enrollment number of 20,000 students or less, whereas the highest, just over 1,000 followers, had a university enrollment of 30 to 40,000, and the largest university I surveyed had 60,000 plus students, and they claimed only 400 followers. So again, the sample size is really too small for this to really be conclusive. Twitter use varied from marketing new acquisitions to displaying events, daily posts, events. It was really all over the board. However, it was still very specific as to what kind of stuff worked and what didn't work. As far as retweets and favorited statuses, the majority claimed retweets 1 to 10 a month, so 60% of people, and the favorites were between 1 and 50 favorited statuses a month. And this is important because this shows an open dialogue between the followers and the departments who are using Twitter. The most popular tweets consisted of very simple things, content that was easily accessible with little or no reading, and unrelated content wasn't really added as well. So just simple things for students to look at and get intrigued by, and maybe ask questions or want to come back later to view it in more depth. When asked if they had problems using Twitter, there was 2 no responses and 2 yes, and the yeses were really just that the character limitation was frustrating and that the misinformation was very easily spread through retweeting. So it's kind of inconclusive data. There really is, it could go either way. Do you have any future plans for Twitter? Again, 50-50. No or yes. It really depends on the department being studied. Further observations. One person really enjoyed it, and another person thought that there just wasn't enough people there who knew about it. My hypotheses, I discovered I was wrong pretty much on all of them. There really wasn't any noticeable positive change in reference questions, with only 20% of the respondents saying that they did notice it. No mention of postings being an issue, but one participant did state that followers were an issue. So quasi-right on that one. Biases that I may face is it's published on my personal blog, so that may sway participants one way or the other, or make them uncomfortable with answering at all. And the sample size was really small. In conclusion, I think that this study should be done again on a larger scale if possible, and it's thought that the more respondents over a longer period of time will yield better results. Overall, really, the study showed that there was no substantial benefit to using Twitter to market materials. However, my new hypothesis is that this is really due to survey size rather than usefulness. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I look forward to them in the discussion board. Thank you very much.